Are you beginning to be very aware the world is changing, that you have access to divine support and spirit guides, but you just really don't know how to ask for guidance or receive the answers? Well, my name's Sonia Choquette. I am actually leading the intuitive revolution and have been for over 50 years. This is just something new my guides are advising me to say, and I'm here to teach you how to talk to guides, how to ask for help, and how to receive answers and not miss it. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I think your guides and your angels brought you here. And if you're coming back, welcome back. We are developing some very evolved skill in terms of working with our divine support system and not missing a thing. So let's get right to it. How to ask for guidance and not miss the direction. First things first. Guides are here to help you, but they're not here to tell you what to do and take over responsibility for your life. Think about a coach on the side of the court in a basketball game. Now, they're going to give you tips, tools, and strategies if you pay attention, but it's still your game to play, and they can't get on the court and do it for you. So let's make that correction in terms of your understanding right away. A lot of my clients have come along the way saying, I ask my guides to fix things or just tell me what to do and I don't get anything. I just want them to I just want my guides to take over everything and run my life so I just can have a guaranteed outcome and just not worry. Now, wouldn't it be nice? But actually, we are here to play the game of how to create and manifest our lives. And we get support, we get help, we get guidance. But our guides have to respect our free will, and we're the ones that decide. So step one, don't ask for guidance that you're not really available to. A lot of people ask for guidance from their angels when really what they want is to get agreement. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a client come for an intuitive guided session and say, I love this person. I really want you to tell me he's the person for my life, or she's my dream princess, or this is the job for me. And I even remember a client once came, it was very dramatic. So that's why I remember it. It was right after my first book, The Psychic Pathway, had been written. She showed up with 10 copies and was just bubbling over all this effusive appreciation for me. But once we actually started in the reading, she said, I got an inheritance from my parents who have passed, and I'm seeing a therapist who I believe is my soulmate, and he wants me to go into business with him, starting a healing center where I, basically finance it, and he runs it. And she goes, I just know that's my destiny. Well, everything about the guidance that came through was red light, red light, red light. She's being manipulated by someone who is unscrupulous. He just wants her money. There's no healing. There's no plan. So I said, the guides say, put the brakes on that. Get a lawyer, get a business plan, get an advisor in the business world, and slow down. Well, she didn't like that guidance. She was so angry with me that she stormed out and called me disgusting and a fraud and I don't even want to go into it, which didn't feel good. Threw the books at me and worse. But what I'll say, interestingly enough, and what I've learned from my teachers is don't react, don't take it personally. She came back 5 years later, totally forgetting how she had behaved in that moment, and said, I started a business thinking I would have forgotten too. I bankrolled my therapist and I thought he was going to marry me and we were going to start a wellness center. He took over $500,000 and disappeared. Then she said, why didn't you warn me? I just smiled. This is what guides do. They're like, I did warn you. I did advise you. You didn't want the guidance. You didn't like what you heard. And so that is the number one hurdle to get over is, are you seriously, genuinely available to your angels and your guides guiding you? Because if you are, you will get a feeling in your heart or your chest or around your head or your throat, subtle, that will either say, go for it, or feel like pulled back. You'll get a knot in your stomach. You'll get a kind of an anxious feeling in your nervous system that says, just don't do it. Just don't do it. If I get any kind of a subtle resistance, it's not a go. I met a woman in London a few weeks ago who was really lovely and said she wanted to help promote and introduce me to the London community, the British people. Loved her. Everything about my experience with her was she could be very helpful in helping me spread my message. But as I was walking home, it's like trying to put on a pair of shoes I really liked and yet they didn't fit. They weren't comfortable. It wasn't aligned energetically. I just had to say, no, thank you. And for reasons I can't explain, that's how your angels communicate to you. They give you energy, and if something isn't right or it doesn't support you at the highest level, it is going to feel energetically uncomfortable. It's not going to be up in your head. It's just going to be, why does this not feel good? Conversely, you might have a quick conversation with someone and everything about it feels good, or you have an idea, or you have some kind of inspiration. I was thinking about another woman who had been asking for years, I need a purpose, I need a purpose, I need a purpose. And then suddenly she met another woman who invited her to collaborate on some beautiful portraits and create a gallery. Now here's the thing, she didn't even live in the same country. They met on vacation. She said everything about it, my whole body was a huge singing, resonating yes. Not just in the moment, but the next day and the next day and the next week. Even though my logic tried to talk me out of it, I just wanted to do it. Everything in it was like, yes. So I did it, went for it, and we created a beautiful gallery about aging grandmothers, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gallery of the beauty of women getting older and being creative and productive and really the wise women of our times. So everything about it was beautiful and successful. It was the angels and guides said, go for it. My logic tried to stop it, but it couldn't. So when you are connected to guides, you need to pay attention to your body. I've talked about this in many of my videos, and I really do want you to go back and check out some of them, because your body is the receiver. Your head is the broadcaster. It puts out what I want to create. The body receives the guidance to say, we'll show you how. So how do you improve the receiving of the body? Well, a couple of things. You want to get enough sleep. In fact, you get a lot of guidance in your sleep. And I do know that sleep is everybody's #1 challenge right now after losing their hair. Those are the two things. So sleep. Go to bed before midnight. Go to bed before midnight. The polarities change. Unplug. Stop the watch. Stop the phone. Stop the input. Quiet down. Have a cool place to sleep. Pray and ask for guidance. Write down the guidance that you want. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, which so many people are, go back to what you wrote and start writing answers. That's one of the ways your guides will get to you, is you have to create the moments to intercept. Second thing is do morning journaling. This is a tool that I learned from my dear friend Julia Cameron, who did the morning pages in her book, The Artist's Way. I've taken it to morning conversations with your guides. So give yourself 10 or 15 minutes in the morning after a brief meditation where you write down what your guides are saying. And I even created a book called the Trust Your Vibes Guided Journal, which will give you some structure. Don't have a copy here, but we'll put it down below. Trust Your Vibes Guided Journal to help you start talking to guides. Beautiful, beautiful little structure. 5 minutes a day. Have you ever had someone ask for your advice, but just when you're starting to give it, they change the subject, get distracted, talk about everything, and don't listen? Well, that's how your guides are feeling. You're not listening. So when you create a request for guidance, you have to create an opening to receive it. One of the ways that really works well is first sleep on it, which I just said, but the other one is walk on it. Have clearly in mind what it is you would like guidance on, and then just go for a walk. And while you're walking, rather than dwelling on the problem, come out of your internal world and start noticing the beauty around you. There's the tree, there's the plants, there's the cars, there's the sky, there's the birds, there's whatever you see. Really notice the beauty. And if that walk is in nature, in a park, anywhere where there's trees, or you focus on nature while you're in the walk, you will absolutely exponentially expand your guidance. You may not get anything while you're on the walk until maybe you're 5 minutes from home, or maybe an hour after you get back, but you clear the field. And when you walk, you go left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, which creates harmony in the head. You drop into the heart, you get into the body. Perfect conditions for guidance, for receiving guidance. Big time. That's another way to receive guidance. Pay attention and ask your guides. Just put your hand on your heart and say, my guidance or my angels say, and answer spontaneously out loud. Ask, give me guidance on the job interview I'm about to go to. Hand on heart. First exhale. Let all the stress out with a sigh. Smile. Hand on heart. My guidance, ask my guides any guidance that you have, and then just say what comes to mind without censoring, without editing, and without needing to control it. Just learn to listen energetically, pay attention and scan. Guides will also speak beautifully in sending you signs from the outer world. Your angels love to do this. You'll see it. For example, you might see it, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the word, license plate, sorry, on a car when you're driving, and you drive up to the car, and right in front of you, you see a car. I've talked about this in other videos. You want to maybe check back with those, but one person was laughing and she said, I saw when I was driving the license plate SLDN, and I instantly got slow down. So that's guidance in my life, because she said I'm always rushing around like a maniac and missing so much. So that's guidance. But I also slowed down as I was driving, and around the bend, there was a hidden cop on the side of the road, just lasering people to see who was speeding. Spared me a ticket. So it was, and then learn to understand. It wasn't just slow down in the moment, but slow down in life. Your guides give you metaphors, symbols. They'll say, you'll get a hit to watch a movie, and it's the perfect movie for what you're dealing with and offers communication. Or it'll have you turn on a podcast, and it's the perfect conversation on the podcast for addressing what it is you're dealing with. I had a client who was struggling with severe and relentless back pain. And he turned on a podcast, just randomly decided he'd listen to a podcast instead of scrolling, which is what he really usually did. He landed upon a podcast about energetic healing and releasing pain through hypnosis. And he got so much destruction from that podcast, he contacted the hypnotist and got relief after 20 years of a chronic and ongoing problem. Thank you, guides. Thank you, angels. Thank you, healer guides. In other words, guys, the guides are screaming at you in every which way, but they don't speak verbal, your native language. They speak spirit. They speak symbols, metaphors, signs. You might see a sign on a bus, and that's perfectly addressing what it is that you are struggling with. And you might see a magazine somewhere, and it has the perfect conversation or the perfect headline. Speaking of conversation, your guides and angels send earth angels very often. So this might be someone who's standing in line while you're in the coffee shop talking about something very pertinent to what it is you're addressing. My client was getting a coffee at a very long line at a coffee shop over lunchtime in her big business building. And she heard two women, overheard them talking about alternative ways to deal with ADHD and a new doctor she had found for her son who did not respond well, and she did not approve of medication. The same issue that my client was dealing with her daughter, who was 16 and just out of control. So she interrupted and said, "Pardon me for overhearing you, but this is exactly what I've been praying for." Well, that's guidance, moving you into place to receive the energy. In other words, guides are talking to you all the time. You have to pay attention and validate what you feel. If there's a message, a conversation, that's your guides communicating with you. If you overhear something on a podcast, or you spontaneously go into a store for no reason and it wasn't planned, that's your guides moving you into place. If you suddenly get an urge to pick up a phone and call someone, those are your guides saying, check in. That's how it works. So my favorite quote from Einstein was, you can treat the world two ways. You can live two ways. One is if nothing's a miracle, and the other is if everything's a miracle. And if you live with the perception and the understanding and the belief and acceptance that everything's a miracle, this universe is miraculously trying to help me every single moment of my life, it will become so. Please, please put in the comments how your guides have talked to you, and listening to this, you didn't realize it. Might be an overheard conversation. It might be that you're with a friend who brings something up. It might be something that just pops in your mind on a walk. It might be a good idea when you're doing the dishes. The whole idea is your guides get through when your mind is available and your heart is open. So, gotta mean it, gotta want it, and gotta be available and have the, welcome sign in terms of your choices and behavior. And then you have to act on it. Don't argue it. Don't sit back. Don't say, I don't know, that's uncomfortable, because you'll miss it. Living a guided life is a different way of being. And I have a beautiful book called Ask Your Guides. We'll give you deep, in-depth instruction on this. Ask Your Guides. I think every home should have a copy of my book, Trust Your Vibes, Ask Your Guides, Read Life Accurately. Well, they're all so good, but those are the three for now, because this is about how to receive guidance and really put it to use and not miss it. So please put in the comments what you've learned from this, what guidance you've received and didn't recognize it, how you're getting guidance but you're not validating it, or how you're getting guidance and it's working out, because all these comments will help others, will help me be a better teacher, will help you by acknowledging guidance, really dial into it so you don't miss it. This is how your guides communicate with you. Guidance is there all the time. You have to create the space and receptivity and learn to speak the metaphors, the humor, the symbols, the signs. But guess what? It comes quite naturally. If that's what you want, you will naturally lean into that. So thank you for tuning in. If this has been helpful, please, please give me a thumbs up. And more importantly, please subscribe, because every week I am giving very dynamic tips and tools from my guides to you, from your guides to you, from the higher self to you. Practical ways to live in the fifth dimension, which means more than just a physical, literal person who's stuck in their head. Someone who's available to divine support, receptive, and successfully receiving it. This is the kind of life great, successful people live. You can be one of them. Thanks for tuning in. All my love. See you next week.